Monday Morning House Call is sponsored by Primary Care Centers of Hazard, Hindman, Hayden, and Vico, focusing on your family's health.
Welcome back into Mountain News this morning. We're joined today by Brian Overby. Thanks for being here with us.
Thanks for having me.
You're going to talk to us about the importance of sleep in our young ones. So
Yes.
why don't you first off, I guess, just start right when they're born. You know, how much sleep do they need to be getting?
Okay, well, typically when you bring your newborn home, it's anywhere between the 1 to 4 week age. So first month, they typically need about 15 and a half to 16 and a half hours of sleep. They don't have a circadian rhythm like we do yet, so it's that sleep will be at different times. It will be during the day, during the night. But as they get older, 1 to 4 months, they need 14 and a half to 15 and a half. It drops a little bit as they begin to develop a rhythm and a sleeping pattern, and that will be a lot during the day too. Then 4 and a half or 4 months to about 8 months, then they need a little bit less, around 15 hours or so, 14 to 15.
Okay.
And about this time is when they start developing a more of an adult-like sleeping pattern with naps during the day. And then around 9 to 12 months, that sleep goes down to 10 to 12 hours.
Okay, so they're not getting up as much in the middle of the night screaming?
Not as much. No, that starts to dissipate the older they get. By 1 to 3 years old, they typically say 12 to 14 hours of sleep, somewhere in that range, although most kids don't get that, but that's what they recommend because they're getting more of a routine. And then by school age 3 to 6, they're down to 10 and a half to about 12. And then by age 7 to 12, it's usually down to about 10 or 11 hours. Now, the importance I'd like to stress is for your teenage years too, typically it's about 8 1/4 to 9 1/2 hours sleep, but most kids only get about 7.
Okay.
And the recommendations are that they really get a little bit more sleep because sleep deprivation is a very big problem. It can cause behavioral changes, it can cause mood problems, it can cause all sorts of things if they don't get in a rhythm. And what we recommend is if you get your child in a good habit of sleeping as a young child, when they start to develop that circadian rhythm, when they get between 1 and 2 and 3 and 4 years old, if you get them in a really good sleeping pattern, then it will follow them throughout their life. And hopefully they'll get enough sleep and feel rested and do very well.
Okay, and so what makes for a good sleep hygiene? Because I know you and I were talking, we used to watch the TV, and now we have sleeping problems. So what are some good, sleeping hygiene tips for parents to instill in their little ones?
Some sleeping hygiene ones, especially for adolescents, is you don't really want to eat a big meal or drink something right before you go to bed a lot because that would, you might have to get up during the night to go to the bathroom, and that would interrupt your sleep. You don't want to fall asleep with the TV on. You want to use the bedroom as a place you go to sleep, and not as a place you go to read or to watch TV or to do things like that. If you do those things, you need to do that in a living area or somewhere of that nature and use the bedroom specifically for sleep. And so it's important too to get on a routine to where, if at all possible, they're going to bed about the same time every night.
Yeah.
And if you get in a routine, then it's much easier to fall asleep and stay asleep. A lot of people believe if they keep kids up and wear them out, that they'll be able to sleep longer. But that's not true. Research has shown that if you wear the kids out and keep them up later than what their bedtime is, that they're actually going to wake up more during the night, that they're going to have more problems sleeping and staying asleep. So the best thing is to get in a routine where they're going to bed at a certain hour every night, and they're getting that 8 1/2 to 9 1/2 hours sleep if they're between 12 and 18, or if they're between 7 and 12, they're getting 10 to 11 hours. I know that's really hard in today's society because we're go, 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 but it's very important that we don't get these kids sleep deprived.
Okay, well, thanks so much for being here with us this morning. You're watching Mountain News This Morning.